Hello, I'm Professor Jude William Genilo, Dean of the School of Social Science, University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh. Today, I will be speaking to you about an important topic in our field, main theoretical perspectives and models in public relations. My discussion outline will be as follows. Introduction, main theoretical perspectives in public relations, the four models of public relations, and a self-reflection for PR practitioners. Let us begin by saying the truth that there is a lot of science in public relations. And I would like to cite Harold Burnson, one of the pioneers in the industry, and his preferred definition of public relations. You can immediately see in his definition that public relations is a social science, but it is also a professional practice, and that professional practitioners and academicians alike need to use theories, models, and research methods in order to explain the social phenomenon surrounding PR. In fact, many of the activities PR professionals undertake, such as generating publicity, formulating strategies, measuring effectiveness, knowing the public, pre-testing campaign materials, gaining credibility, managing crisis, and monitoring competitors need some sort of research. And what Harold Burnson said about the use of social sciences was mentioned earlier by the founder of modern public relations himself, Edward Bernays. In his book entitled Propaganda, Bernays mentioned that practitioners should use social science approaches to manipulate the masses into thinking the way they ought to think. And the way they ought to think is the way the social elite thinks. The social science research methods include quantitative and qualitative approaches. Some quantitative approaches are experiments, correlations, and surveys. Some qualitative approaches are grounded theories, ethnography, and narrative researches. Of course, there are also mixed methods. Whenever we speak of research methods, in some form or another, theories come into the picture. For theories guide the research process. They embody the beliefs and value systems of the researcher, which decide how this particular study would be undertaken. In other words, the way researches would be undertaken depends on the theoretical perspective of the public relations researcher or practitioner. And there are two main perspectives thereof. One, functionalist positivist, and two, co-creational. The functionalist perspective sees publics and communication as tools or means to achieve organizational ends. The focus is generally on techniques and production of strategic organizational messages. The example being given here is William McGuire's model of persuasion, which has 6 steps from exposure to attention, comprehension, acceptance, retention, and action. It is from the easiest to the hardest. This model is usually utilized in advertising, marketing, and media relations. Remember Edward Bernays? To quote, "If we understand the mechanism and motives of the group mind, it is now possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without them knowing it." In essence, Bernays, like many people during that time, believed in an all-powerful media, capable of instilling thoughts into the minds of people. These are basically one-way linear communication models where the audiences have no choice but to accept media messages. The source uses a transmitter to send a message through a channel, and the destination uses a receiver to capture the message. The communication process is deemed effective if the destination receives the message as intended by the source. And so many theories have been developed based on this theoretical perspective, such as agenda setting, media relations theory, and persuasion theory. The mainstays are, first, the models are linear. Second, media is very powerful. Third, the key is for the message to reach the intended audience. For example, in the agenda setting theory, the aim is to shape the public perception of reality. Tell the audience what to think about. But there is also another main perspective, the co-creational perspective. This perspective sees publics as co-creators of meaning, and communication makes it possible to agree to shared meanings, interpretations, and goals. This perspective is long-term in orientation and focuses on relationships among publics and organizations. The aim of the communication process is for the information to produce mutual understanding, mutual agreement, and collective action. This is indicated in the convergence model of communication. One proponent of the co-creational perspective is communication scholar Wilbur Schramm, who, together with Charles Osgood, formulated the circular model of communication. The model shows that each person acts as both sender and receiver, each taking turns in encoding, interpreting, and decoding. Both actors are equal. No one is more powerful than the other. In essence, Wilbur Schramm learned that the media is not all-powerful. People have their own minds and are capable of assessing media messages and creating their own social realities. These are basically two-way communication models where the senders and receivers are on equal footing with their own fields of experience. Both try to agree on the meaning on what is happening around them. The communication process is deemed effective if it results in mutual understanding and collective action. And so many theories have been developed based on this main theoretical perspective, such as the co-orientation theory, accommodation theory, and dialogue theory. The mainstays are, first, the models are circular. Second, sender and receiver get to change roles in a dynamic fashion. And third, the key is for the information to result in mutual understanding and collective action. For example, in the co-orientation theory, much emphasis is placed on the evaluation of an issue, its accuracy and congruence, which are essential to achieve common understanding and agreement. Now let us relate the main theoretical perspectives with the four models of public relations, or how our field is being practiced. The four models include, first, publicity or press agency, which aims to manipulate the public toward a certain end using whatever means. No research is done. Second, public information, which simply disseminates information to the public. Not much research is done. Third, asymmetrical model, which uses science to persuade publics towards a certain end. Research is done. Fourth, symmetrical model, which promotes negotiation and mutual benefit of parties. Research is also done. Of these models, three utilize the one-way model of communication, while only one follows the two-way circular model. The first three models believe in an all-powerful media to manipulate or persuade the audience towards a certain end. The last model follows a two-way model of communication where sender and receiver interchange roles and are on equal footing. So we have reached a point in this lecture where we need to self-reflect regarding what type of public relations practitioner we are or want to become. Should we simply say falsehoods without any basis in order to manipulate the public towards what we want them to believe? Should we just dish out information to the public without even knowing what they want to know, or whether the messages we deliver are useful to them? Should we instead be more scientific in our approach in persuading the public, knowing their profile, their thoughts, their life, but in the end, the goal is for them to believe what we believe? Should we treat our publics as equals and work for our common good, and in the process use science and ethics towards the achievement of our future? This is basically for you to decide. Thank you.